Hi everyone. Thanks for joining me for our summer devotional series. Together we're reading selections from Paul's letter to the Philippians. And today we're reading chapter 3, verses 1 through 11. Hear now the word of the Lord. And I'm using the Message translation today. Be glad in God. I don't mind repeating what I've written in earlier letters, and I hope you don't mind hearing it again. Better safe than sorry, so here goes. Steer clear of the barking dogs, those religious busybodies, all bark and no bite. All they're interested in is appearances. Knife-happy circumcisers, I call them. The real believers are the ones the Spirit of God leads to work away at this ministry, filling the air with Christ's praise as we do it. We wouldn't carry this off by our own efforts, and we know it, even though we can list what many may think are impressive credentials. You know my pedigree: illegitimate birth, circumcised on the 8th day, an Israelite from the elite tribe of Benjamin, a strict and devout adherent to God's law, a fiery defender of the purity of my religion, even to the point of persecuting the church, a meticulous observer of everything set down in God's law book. The very credentials these people are waving around as something special, I'm tearing up and throwing out with the trash, along with everything else I used to take credit for. And why? Because of Christ. Yes, all the things I once thought were so important are gone from my life. Compared to the high privilege of knowing Christ Jesus as my master, firsthand, everything I once thought I had going for me is insignificant. Dog dung. I've dumped it all in the trash so that I could embrace Christ and be embraced by Him. I don't want some petty, inferior brand of righteousness that comes from keeping a list of rules, when I could get the robust kind that comes from trusting Christ, God's righteousness. I gave up all that inferior stuff so I could know Christ personally, experience His resurrection power, be a partner in His suffering, and go all the way with Him to death itself. If there was any way to get in on the resurrection from the dead, I wanted to do it. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Now I want to invite you all to do a short exercise with me. Find a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, and just take a few minutes to write down a list of things that are really valuable to you, or a list of accomplishments. What's on that list? You can go ahead and pause this video while you think about it and write things down. Okay, great, we're back. Thanks so much. Just take a look at the list again. In our reading today, Paul offers us his own list of things that are valuable or important to him, or of his accomplishments. And it's pretty impressive, actually. And actually, there are two lists that he makes. First is the list of accomplishments and positions and education and status he had before coming to know Christ. And second is the list of what's most important to him after coming to know Christ. He says that the first list is rubbish, or dog dung, which is a better translation. And it's just rubbish compared to knowing Christ. And I really admire Paul's single-minded focus on Christ. And I don't think I'm alone in struggling with this at times, that sometimes it's hard to have that single-minded focus. We hear and know and trust that Christ is the most important person in our lives. Christ is the center of everything. And He can and should provide the lens through which we determine the importance of everything else in our lives. Christ is the foundation of our lives, everything that our lives are built on. And Christ directs us to love and serve God and our neighbors in all that we do, and helps us see what is really most important. And so may we all have open hearts and minds to receive how Christ is speaking to us today and is helping us discern what is most important in our lives and in the world. Our blessing for today comes from John O'Donohue's book, To Bless the Space Between Us. And it's a blessing for courage, because sometimes it takes a lot of courage to discern what is the most important and to live our lives in that way. So now receive this blessing. When the light around you lessens and your thoughts darken until your body feels fear turn cold as stone inside, when you find yourself bereft of any belief in yourself and all you unknowingly leaned on has fallen, when one voice commands your whole heart and it is raven dark, steady yourself and see that it is your own thinking that darkens your world. Search and you will find a diamond thought of light. Know that you are not alone and that this darkness has purpose. Gradually, it will school your eyes to find the one gift your life requires hidden within this night corner. Invoke the learning of every suffering you have suffered. Close your eyes. Gather all the kindling about your heart to create one spark. That is all you need to nourish the flame that will cleanse the dark of its weight of festered fear. A new confidence will come alive to urge you toward higher ground, where your imagination will learn to engage difficulty at its most rewarding threshold. And now may the peace of Christ, which passes all understanding, be with you always.